All right. Thank you so much for your insight on that report. Director General of the Department of State Services, Oluwatosin Ajayi, says the agency is adopting a people-centered approach to national security through investment in schools, worship center, and recreational spaces across Nigeria. Speaking through retired DSS Director Alhaji Ahmed Zalma at the commissioning of the Bola Ahmed Tinubu Dorum Center for Islamic Studies in Chikum, local government area in Kaduna State, Ajayi said the initiative targets terrorism and subversion by engaging communities and addressing grassroots discontent. Zalma, quoting the DG, clarified that those projects are not funded from operational budgets but through corporate social responsibility and voluntary donations from private stakeholders. He said the objective is to win hearts and minds of vulnerable populations while enhancing national unity. The center, built and donated by Ajayi, a Christian, will serve orphans and indigent children. It has been hailed as a powerful symbol of interfaith harmony and a model for nation building. Sultan of Sokoto, Mohammed Saad Abubakar III, described the project as a legacy that exemplifies religious tolerance. He praised President Tinubu's appointment of Ajayi, saying it fostered deeper cooperation and understanding among faith communities. Finance Minister Wale Edun also lauded the effort linking it to the federal government's vision for inclusive growth and youth empowerment. Other dignitaries present included Kaduna State Deputy Governor Dr. Hadiza Balarabe, Emir of Zazu, Ahmed Bamali, and past DSS officials. The Sultan called on wealthy Nigerians to invest in education for the disadvantaged, describing it as a divine responsibility. I know we just finished talking about, banditry, and we have this report. For starters, the call for social corporate responsibility regards education. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think it's a good one? Do you think it's a timely one, given the insecurity right now that we suffer as a people, worse off as it is just now in the north? Do you think this is a timely intervention by the DSS?
I think first let me point out what he said. Probably he probably knew that people would ask, where did the money come from? So he said it is not part of the budgetary allocation for operational allocation, but it would be sort of an abnormality if you use money that would be used for operational activities to carry out, educational program, which is not the core mandate of the DSS. There is a Ministry of Education, both at the federal level and the state level, who has the responsibility of doing that, or in this case, it's an Islamic school. So probably there are some religious organizations who would have done that. However, if it's a personal fund, or like he said, money earmarked for social corporate responsibility, if there is such provision in their budget and it doesn't tamper with the operational fund, because one of the issues almost every agency will complain about in Nigeria is lack of fund to carry out. No matter how well their budgetary allocation is, they are still need to not having enough. So it would be a little bit abnormally using budgetary fund to do corporate social responsibility. But since he clarified that, I think anything that can be done to reduce banditry, if partnering with the people, could create trust. But one of the challenges we have in this country with government agencies is that there's a trust deficit. So people may even have an information, but they are not sure who to talk to. Even when the government agency is raising his hand, hello, come on, talk to me. Nobody is sure that if I talk to him, I'll be saved. So if this type of intervention can bridge the gap, reduce that trust deficit, create trust, make people trust them, see them as partners. If it can help them penetrate those communities and, create a sort of enlightenment to make people know that this is not the way to go. We need security for the good of all of us. I think it's a welcome is a welcome development that should be encouraged. As far as, like he already noted, the money used for it is not a money marked for something else. So I think it's Welcome.
Now, while you have, laid a lot of salient points, I wanted to get your perspective with regards. Do you know how many IDP camps are over there in Kaduna just now?
There are quite a number of them.
The hunger in those camps. Do you think we need more schools, or we need people to be alive and eat?
We need both. We need people to be alive. We need more schools. Now, the role of schools in making people alive is that enlightenment.
Would there be people in schools if there is still insurgency?
Well, in spite of the situation, even in some of those IDP camps,
Right.
there is some form of education.
Right.
And we also hope that in spite of the challenges we have, not everybody would die. So those that survive, what becomes of them after all said and done? So we won't wait until we finish the war, as it were, before we start educating people. Otherwise, we would have a readily available army for the bandits and other people who want to be mischievous in society to recruit. But if you provide some form of education and enlightenment, maybe they would now be bold to say, no, this is not the right way to go. My concern is this: if these institutions you provide, like the DSS providing it now, apart from providing educational institutions, do they have a preconceived idea what they want to achieve with that institution? It's not enough to say, oh, we build that relation, we want to create enlightenment. Do they have maybe something they want to inculcate in the teaching system to say, okay, since you are closer to these people, help us pass this information to them? And the people, have they accepted that, okay, since you gave us this school, I mean the managers of the school, okay, since you gave us this school, one of the things we will do, apart from our own curriculum as it were, which we want to teach, we will also find time to pass your message to them that, okay, this is a message from DSS. I mean, you may not put it this way, but it's sort of a civic education to make them know that, oh, we can all work together with the security agencies, especially this particular agency, to rid our society of banditry. After all, it is for the interest, it is in their own interest and interest of everybody in general that the society is rid of banditry. So my concern in this, that setting up the school, is there a collaboration between those setting up the school, the DSS, and maybe if it is a conventional school, and the Ministry of Education, whether at the state or federal level, who will provide the teachers? So you don't have school build structures, but you come to the government side to say, oh, that school was not in our budget to employ teachers and pay for teachers. That would be an issue. Then, since it's an Islamic school, is there a communication between those who manages the school? At the end of the day, have they spoken to the Islamic cleric? Are they sure these are the kind of cleric, not the ones that that propagate the Boko Haram kind of theory? So if they have considered all this and taken care of all this, I don't think it's a very bad idea.
Now, when advocacy is being done, oftentimes it's usually said that before you implement fully what your advocacy is, it's a good idea to know the pain point of the people, because
Absolutely.
It's one thing for you to do social responsibility and it is not of the people's interests by their own perception, right? Because now then you have the argument of, let me say you're going there to say what you guys need, you need more schools. But then what the people might need in that area might be water. While school might be a good idea, fantastic one, what those people might actually need is water. Now, for this particular report, you would agree with me that there was no statement by any prominent person and such in the community, no statement. Do you think that that is why I asked my previous question? Do you think that at this time, given everything going on, this project, good as it is timely to what the people need?
You see, That is why if you're conversant with government policies and even the non-governmental organizations, the NGOs, if they do a policy, there's something called need assessment.
Right.
Before you carry out a project,
Right.
you carry out a needs assessment to ascertain what the need of the person is. And it's very much like an individual thing. I could go out into the market now and see a beautiful shirt and feel like, oh, this shirt would be good for you, and get it for you with a good intention, and I present that shirt, you like that shirt, and even collect it from me. But at that material time, a shirt is the least of your need. So I probably wouldn't have met your need as compared to if I did a need assessment to ask you, okay, what and what do you need now? Of maybe, normally the way a needs assessment is, you probably have looked at the community and know what is lacking, as it were, and then you do a list, more like it's work. It requires some work. You take a sort of survey among the people, between electricity and school. Which one do you want? Do you want the people? If more people think that their lives will be better off with electricity, you go for electricity. Also, in doing that, you also consider your own budget, because there is no need in carrying out a need assessment. You put items that if the people say this is what they prefer, you can't afford it. For example, let me still bring it back to personal level. If I were to do a need assessment of what you want at this material time, it's necessary I choose items that I can also afford. There is no need of asking you between a car and a bottle of drink, which do you want? And you take a car, only for you to come back and say, oh, sorry, at this material time I don't have enough money, so I should have looked at things that I can afford. So I want to believe they have done this. If not, what you pointed out is why you have issues, especially across rural community, that government spend money providing some facilities that the people will not utilize. They are not needed. There's a story told about how a government, spend money in building. Is it a government or an NGO, went to a community and built? There is a story about a hospital building, but at that time the people don't need the hospital because they're okay with their native way of treatment. So if probably a needs assessment was done, they would have chosen another item. There's also a case of a needs assessment, a project provided without a needs assessment, and the people, okay, it's about water. The women in the community go a distance to fetch water, and this nice NGO guy comes and feel like, oh, these ladies are suffering, let us provide them water, and provided water. But what he didn't reckon it is that the time to fetch that water, as demanding as it is the only time these women who live in harem have to socialize with themselves. So if you bring water into their house, you are taking away that critical part of their life. So in spite of that water that has been brought closer, they still ignore the water and go down the stream to fetch water, because that's the only time they have to socialize with themselves, since they go in company. Man is a social animal.
Right.
So it's the same thing here. When projects like this are carried out, I want to believe that there would have been a needs assessment to ensure that this is what the people need, amongst many other things they need, or at least majority of them voted for it. And like I said, needs assessment is work, but it's doable. It's a simple survey. Go into your intended community, the intended beneficiary, have a list of what you would do, and give them the ones that is more favorable to them. So at the end of the day, when that project comes, they will own it, since they are the one who have been issued, said, I want this. You can imagine giving me an option to choose between offense and whatever. So if I choose that one, that's what I want. That means I'm going to consume it voraciously, as against giving me one high-sounding foreign food that I don't know.
Thank you.